Previously on Kimba TV. Andy says, I'm eyeing on 62.3 to grab the lows as valid. Yeah, I mean, I think 62 breaks, don't you? I mean, I'm a big level to level guy, so I like the yellow lines more. So you know that I'm going to be doing this again. This time it's, look at where the 382 lines up, or the 05. Good morning. Feeling a little funky. I think I'm just getting too sleep deprived. You guys remember this? Last Monday, I believe I was still in Vegas, or maybe this was already, I was already in Florida. Yeah, I mean, things just, for me, my plans always take longer. So this was last Monday, right? So I'm still waiting for the 60K bullish retest, basically. You know what I'm saying? For me, my plans just take time. I just have to always wait. Itch Gibbs sub says, you think it's a bullish retest? Yes, but how do you look at data and tell? Itch Gibbs. Do we predict the future, or do we have a way to look at the data and tell if it's a bullish retest? Are you still in the habit of guessing, or do you know what data to look at to tell you if it is? Hector says bottom shorters. Attaboy. You're getting it, Hector. Yeah, help out our boy Itch Gib subs. But Itch Gib subs, make sure that you're caught up. If you're a brand new lion, I would at least go back 2 months. So it's all been, I'm not doing anything different than we've planned for weeks, days, months. And then I've already explained exactly what kind of edge you need. All right, so make sure you get caught up. Sounds good. I think it's cleaner if we sweep 57 again. It wouldn't be bullish. You know that, right? So you might get a bounce from 57, but I would be looking to short. So that might be the difference between you and I. And here's the thing. You're still fixated on a random number. What is the data that will tell you that it's bullish if it starts to bounce from 57? So don't do this. I'm going to predict that the millions of people trading crypto and S&P and with World War III lingering in the Middle East, I will predict that everybody buys here. That's not trading, and that's certainly not risk management. So maybe you want to long 57, maybe I want to long 59.5, but it's how we get down there and how it reacts down there. All right, make sure you get caught up on yesterday's thang too. But for example, Ikgeb subs, if it spends any time down there, because I already drew a trident for you yesterday, right? If it spends any time below 59.7, then there's no bounce to be had. This has to be a trident, like a dink, 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 go. Ikgebab with another question. Is it relevant for you when BTC falls that ETH moves with it because the big players take money? Ikgebab, you're new to trading, aren't you? So every question that you've asked so far today, there's a way to tell. You don't have to guess. Okay? So when you ask me, because the big players take money out of ETH too, do you know how to tell if that's actually happening through data? What happens on open interest if money is leaving? Does it go up or down? And if money is going into BTC, is open interest going up or down? So don't guess. You tell me. Okay, exclamation tools. You know what would be perfect for that? Crypto quant. Okay, but don't guess, brother. I feel like you're kind of in that phase where you're just kind of like repeating what other people say, but you don't really have a way to tell yourself if that's what's happening for sure, right? So take a look at ETH and the open interest, aggregate open interest. Is money leaving? All right, we'll cover that on a Nerd Out Saturday, kebabs. But for now, what I would do if I were you, every question that you have, figure out what data tells you yourself so you can see it for yourself if that's what's happening. Don't just like listen to other people and regurgitate. Have you ever seen like a bird feed its babies? You know, like in a nest, all the baby birds are like, I'm hungry, feed me. You know what the baby mom does? It comes back and it throws up into the baby's mouths. You know that, right? It goes, puh, puh. You don't want to be the bird. You don't want to be the baby bird that just takes what other people say and take it. Don't just repeat what other people are saying. Tell me what you see on the data. Alrighty, that's the main difference between here and maybe other places is I don't want you guys to take anything at face value. Whatever I say, whatever anybody else says, here we learn how to read the data so we can all make decisions for ourselves. Merino Kimba, would you still long BDC if there is structural edge, open interest edge, but S&P is bearish and looks like it's about to fully fill the big gap? Yes. The only difference, Merino, is I would be really aggressive with stop loss break even. But some people might not. So obviously, Merino, it depends on, you know, do you remember what I would expect of these lows? Do you remember what we said about these lows? It would not surprise me if it comes back, cleans it, and then shoots right back out. Doesn't that kind of look very similar to what the fuck I need here? And then get the fuck back out. So yes, Merino, I would. But the only thing that I would do different is I would be very aggressive with minimizing my losses. You feel me, Merino? So we already identified those bad lows, right? So even if it does get back in here, if it fails, it's okay in my opinion. Right? Even if it fails though, and it does this, and it starts pulling back and it breaches the 0.5, I would probably be like, uh-oh. All right, so first things first, we know that that is bad. These are bad and weak. It's not arguable, okay? So maybe it comes and sweeps. For it to be a swing fail, it's got to get back above this line, right, Merino? And it cannot do a bearish retest, and it cannot do this, right? Yeah. So, all right, but realistically though, if you actually have been following along and watching, okay, you guys know that this right here, this is our value range. Okay, don't forget the boxes and the stuff like we've talked about. So that's how, so I mean, there you go. This is from last week.
You just said.
So I'm still waiting for that 60K zone. Bullish retest. And things take time. This is daily candle close. Okay, You guys remember when we talked about the tops? Do I want this kind of top? Do I want this kind of top? Do I want this kind of top? Which means, what kind of bottom do I want? Do I want this kind of bottom, or do I want this kind of bottom with maybe a think? Everything that we've talked about is just, today is the day that we find out who kind of gets it and who can't put everything together, but that's okay. Uchiha, you good? 604, you good? 604, what do I say every day when we start? Make sure you have levels to the upside, levels to the downside. None of these levels have changed. All right. Luke Quiana, Gucci Magucci, let's go. Tough Gnome, let's go. Barnum and Bailey, can you explain what it makes more bearish again, please? It's one, same pattern as before. So have you been noticing the last couple days, it goes to the 0.5 and it turns right back around? Have you noticed that? Do you know that this is the 0.5 as well? I don't know what you don't know. Everything has been covered. Y'all ask everything. Are you sure you're caught up on all the highlights, Barnum and Bailey? Have you been here with me when I've been drawing stuff like this? Have you been with me when I have been drawing stuff like this? We had it yesterday too, where I said, I can't get bullish until we do a bullish retest. So, but I mean, and I talked about it this morning too. You think that's going to get swept, or you think they're going to leave it like that? I said it earlier. What kind of low do you want? When you get a high, do you want it like this? Don't you want it like this? Don't you want it like this? So what would that mean for the low? You want it like this, right? What is a good low and a bad low? But just do your best. This shouldn't be like a, don't turn it into like a dick measuring contest, you know? If you were longing and you get round tripped, not that big of a deal. Do you know why I didn't long this? Because I've done that 50 million times in the last 2.5 years. And you know what happens? Fuck! I just get stopped out, break even. I've already taken that long before, hundreds of times, thousands of times. So it's easier for me to just wait for the lows to get cleaned. Barnum says, I'm not caught up on the highlights at all. Damn, that's probably why you have all these questions. I am waiting second chance to short 62.2. I don't think you want it to go back up. Because you're going to make a higher low. So that's going to be a little bit of an awkward scenario. You either shorted that or you didn't. I don't know if you want to keep waiting. All right. But Vanya, why didn't you take that? You don't want to go up, Vanya. You want S&P to start filling the gap. You want S&P to lose that. You want S&P to lose that. So here you go. You want S&P to lose that. You want S&P to lose that. Ding, ding, ding. All right. Any other questions? And remember, I'm closing all of my the remaining short here. Vanya says, I don't know waiting rotation. Okay, are you talking about full rotation? because it kind of looks like it's turning value area low into resistance. You needed that bitch to hold. Antari says, can you explain how I could have shorted that? Were you here when we put this line here? Were you here when we put that line? Were you here when I explained that whenever we have a resistance line, I can only get bullish if we actually do a bullish retest? I don't know what you don't know. And then last but not least, I always tell you guys, make sure you know your value. Alrighty, but I'm already in a short from up here, as you guys all know, that I'm still waiting to TP down here, and I was taking a nap, so I didn't take a short. If you didn't take a short, not that big of a deal. 62.4, 62.3, 60, right? So on Coinbase, it's 62.360. On CME, it's 62.725. So you just got to be able to identify, but there's really no right or wrong. There's really just shitty risk management and good risk management. I don't know if we're going to go sweep 60. I'm just going off of probabilities. The probability is that it's going to sweep 60. It's higher than 50-50. It's going to sweep 60. Okay. Does it mean that it has to 100%? No. What are some things that bulls could do to start to minimize that probability? You've got full rotation on previous day value area low. You've got back test of we don't get bullish on penetration. We get bullish on what? You see this? You think it's just random? So just make sure that you're being patient. Wait for 30-minute candle closes. Can it turn resistance into support? This is just Fibonacci, right? Some of you guys are talking about full rotation. I like that. That's volume, right? Don't forget to sprinkle in TPO. See it? So if you have 2 or even 3 30-minute candle closes below the TPO point of control, what would that be? If you spend 2, 30, 60, 90 minutes below the TPO point of control is where is spent the most amount of time. You cannot lose that if you're bullish. All right. Anything else? You guys good? A lot of this stuff is just, we've all talked about these things hundreds and hundreds of times in the last 2.5 years. Obviously, when the bullets start flying, that's when it's kind of difficult to put everything together. So if you could choose one thing that you could have done better, you wish you did better, what would it be? Stop loss and profit? Remembering a certain thing? Volume? Pick one thing that you could, you wish that you did better today, and just do it better next time. That's it. And that's the juice, regardless of if you're in a short or a long. Alrighty, don't be late, you good? 196 says, sorry, I'm late. My school killing my time. No worries. The rewind should be up, and I left my VOD up while I did the TA. So all you need to do is watch the end of last night's VOD, and you'll get all the TA stuff. But for the most part, 196, nothing has changed. You know what my, can I do monthly on this? Oh my God, yes. Okay, let's take a look at this. Do you remember what my plan is? You guys know what I'm trying to do by the 2nd or 3rd week of October? Do you know what I'm trying to front run? There was only one green delta candle, this one. Do you understand that this monthly candle, 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 it's all negative delta. Negative, negative, negative. Do you see how last month it changed a little bit? It's still negative, but it's kind of changing. So at the end of this month, we're going to come back and look at this. I want this month to have a positive green open interest delta, like this one. Okay? That's all I'm looking for. I want this bitch to be a green delta. Alrighty, so we have a couple of things you guys, I'm hoping that you guys are paying attention to. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Sagur, what's going on? But how long ago did I start talking about, hey, I'm going to give myself, maybe until the 2nd or 3rd week of October to be in some big longs. You guys remember that? So that's it. Nothing has changed, 196. You don't want to get too caught up on, a couple hours worth of price action. Remember what you've seen. Do you have levels identified to the upside and downside? That's it. Make sure you know what resistance levels bulls have to break. If it breaks through resistance, then what does it need to turn into support? Ladies and gentlemen, we talked about this box how long ago? Alrighty. Don't forget that this is a week old, y'all. 60K zone for a higher time frame bullish retest. Y'all better quit playing with me. So for me, I'm not nervous. I'm not scared. I know exactly what I'm going to be looking for. I'm going to be watching this on the other screen. I'm going to be watching this on the other screen. And then you guys know what the most important thing on Friday is going to be, right? We need that unemployment to be, 4.4 or lower. You know what I mean? Y'all Gucci? Actually, depending on if it grabs all these single prints, if it does a bearish retest at 60,600, you never know. Maybe this has to go back up to 61.3 again. But depending on the data, I will know how I want to do it. Okay? Yabushige-san? Yabushige-san, is Japanese better? Would Japanese be better? You want Korean? Tell me what you want, Yabushige-san. Were you here when I said this actually makes this higher probability than we were in the morning? So depending on, does it grab that? Does it go back and grab that? Does it do this? Does it do that? I might put some blind limits in. So I don't know if you know how to tell if it's more bearish or more bullish, depending on which level it hits and how it hits it and how it reacts. All right. And even if I were to put blind limits in, it's maybe 15%. 25% at most. Okay. Yeah. But remember, if we start to do this and we breach the 59.7 or we breach 60 basically, and I start to see shorts open big time, I will immediately put blind limits in for like 59400, 59350, 59300 or some shit. Okay, but do I have some sitting there right now? Nope. Alrighty, because this, it's not really 3.2 million. It might be 3.179. This might not be 2.5 million. It might be 2.465. It's rounding up and down. And based off of the volume candle, you know what might help too is you go to like a time-based. Time-based candles might be a little bit more cleaner too. Yeah, and if this doesn't make sense for you, you can always confluence it with this. So you can always look at the open interest delta here and the open interest delta here. I mean the regular open interest if it's going up or down. But if it's not perfectly matching, then you either need to change the candle or switch over to time. And a lot of this is being rounded up or down, so that might fuck with you sometimes. Idle says more time is spent above previous day value area low, more bullish it is. Yeah, I mean, theoretically, but you never have one thing that makes it bullish or bearish. It's the combination of everything. So, like, your question was, let's say that this is value area low. Fuck. Can never do it on these. Let's say that this is value area low, right? And your question was, the more time it spends above previous day value area low, more bullish it is. Theoretically, yes, but that is one variable, time, that you are considering. What about structure, for example? Let's say that this is value area low, and I'm pretty sure we saw this last week. Okay? But what if it does this? What if structure says that it's bearish? What are you going to do? What about open interest? If this whole move up was a short squeeze, is that bullish? So it goes beyond, I mean, that's a great question, and it highlights why taking everything into consideration is so important. You can never be bullish or bearish just off of one piece of data, in my opinion. Right? Because what if it makes a structural edge and it gives you a failed auction? What if the whole move up there, open interest says that it was just a short squeeze instead of longs opening? So you got to take everything into consideration and try to put together whether you're right or wrong. Like if it's a higher than 50-50 chance or a lower than 50-50 chance, something is going to do it. And you just go off of your, the best that you can do. If you're unsure or if the edge isn't that good, then that just means that you do a smaller position. If you're still motivated to take a position. So that's what makes this so fun, People are going to interpret things a little bit differently. People's risk appetite is going to be a little bit different. So that's why it's so important that you're happy with your own decisions, Thomas, it's my pleasure, man. Arcan says, a few hours ago, I closed one of my best trades of my entire life thanks to your knowledge sharing. That's awesome, Arcan. But you know what, Arcan? I say this all the time. If you juiced, I'm obviously going to be excited if I was able to help you in any way, but don't forget to pat yourself on the back too. Okay? Don't give me too much credit when you juice, because if you take an L, you're going to want to blame me too. So, but that's awesome, Arcan. That's awesome. It doesn't surprise me. You ask amazing questions and just keep it up. And you know what? Regardless of if you got round tripped or you juiced the fuck up, I would be just as proud. Okay. It's not about the one trade today. It's about the 10,000, the 50,000, the 100,000 trades coming up. You know, so if you do good on one trade, but you fuck up the next 10. Okay. I'll check in with you guys in a little bit. Stay safe. Stay safe. You strong, we strong. Let's go. I'm strong then.